So let's do the linear functions first. Those will be pretty easy. All I need to do is come up with some points. Here is going to be negative 7 comma 5. And over here is going to be negative 3 comma 7. That's a negative. And over here, the points are 4 comma 8. And this one, the point is 8 comma something. So I don't want to use this point because it's not exactly on an intersection. So I would rather use this point. So that point is going to be 7 comma 7. Just so you're not confused. Oops. This point is going to be 7 comma 7. You don't always have to use the endpoints. You want to choose the convenient points that are at intersections that are easy to read. So to find the slope of each one of these, not that bad. This one will be 7 minus 5 over negative 3 minus a negative 7. That minus negative becomes plus 7. So then you would get 2 over positive 4, which is 1/2. And if you look, this is a rise of 1 over 2. Pretty easy. Over here, so I did this one probably the more difficult way. Over here, you could, let's just do this the easier way, just look at the rise over run. So this one goes down 1 over 3, so the rise over run is negative 1 over 3. And it is a negative slope. So going back to this equation, y equals y1 plus m x minus x1. I can start plugging things in. y1, let's see, I'll choose negative 3, 7. That looks like a good point to use. 7 plus 1/2 x minus a negative 3. And again, this minus a negative 3 becomes plus 3. So when I distribute, I'm going to get 7 plus 1/2 x plus 3 over 2. Combine 7 and 3 over 2. That's probably going to be trickier than a lot of you want. 7 over... I can rewrite 7 as... I'll put this over here. I'll rewrite 7 as 14 over 2. So then it just becomes 17 over 2. Over on this side, I'm going to use the same equation. We'll use the point 7, 7. That's a good point to use. So then y equals 7 plus, I'm sorry, let's do 7 minus a third x minus 7. So I distribute, you get minus 1/3 x plus, since it's a negative times a negative, 7 over 3. So I'm going to rearrange this sum. 7 is going to become 7 times 3, 21 over 3, plus 7 over 3. So I'm going to get negative 1/3 x plus 28 over 3. So those are my two functions. I have this one and this one. Those are my two linear functions. So let's go ahead and find the equation for this quadratic. I already know the vertex. The vertex was given to me. It was 1, 2. I'm going to need at least one other key point right here. 4, comma, -1. That's a good point to have. And just in case I need it, I know that this point, since quadratic is symmetric, this point right here is going to be -2, comma, -1. May or may not need that. So I need some more room. I'm going to work over here. For a quadratic, the vertex form, y equals ax minus h squared plus k. The vertex is always going to be hk. This is your vertex, which I know, so I can plug that in there. So plug in my vertex, minus 1 squared plus 2. So I have y equals this. What's tricky is that I don't know what this a value is, so I need another point. I'll choose for -1. Use another point for -1. Plug that into y and x so that I can solve for a. So I'm going to get -1 on this side. Still don't know a. 4 minus 1 squared plus 2. So I can crunch some of these numbers. I'm going to bring this 2 to this side. That'll give me -3 on the left. And inside 4 minus 1 is 3. And that's going to become, this becomes 9. 3 squared is 9. To solve for a, just divide by 9. So my a value is -1/3. So just to double check, a negative a value is going to make this face down, open down, concave down. So that's good. So my final equation, y equals -1/3 x minus 1 squared plus 2. This is another piece of the piecewise function. So as far as writing the piecewise function, f of x, you have to write that big ugly bracket thing. The first one I'll write is the 1/2 x plus 17 over 2. And that's going to be defined from -7 to -3. That's a negative. Then the second part is the quadratic, which is -1/3 x minus 1 squared plus 2. And that's going to be from, you can't see, from -3 all the way to 4. -3 all the way to 4. Notice I did not underline these because on the graph those two circles are open. They're not filled in, not included. Last piece of the graph is -1/3 x plus 28 over 3. And that's defined from 4 to 8. Should I underline either one of these? Looking back here, this was filled in. So yes, fill in, underline the 4, but don't underline this 8. So that's part B, piecewise function.